This episode of Louisville Unveiled, the team visits the Kentucky Organ Donors Association.
Hi, welcome.
Hey, Shelley.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great to see you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us here today. We are really excited to see what you guys are all about and the facility. And so if you want to start us off on a tour.
I would love to. So this is a great representation of our mission. This Donate Life mission impacts so many families and lives right here in Louisville and throughout the country. And we are so excited. We have beautiful photos of people who have been touched by this mission and impacted, and their lives have been changed because of it. People who have given the gift of life, who have received the gift of life. Byron received a cornea transplant. He wouldn't see that beautiful daughter of his without that incredible gift. So that's what we do, and it all starts here by people learning about the importance of organ donation, saying yes when they get their driver's license, or just jumping online and registering as a donor. And we always say, you know, we never even know if we end up becoming a donor, and in fact only 1% of the population actually dies in a way that they can save lives through organ donation. But everyone can register, and it's so easy, and it just takes a minute, and it gives hope to all those waiting for a transplant.
That 1% that's incredible. I didn't know it was like, it's very particular how someone has to pass in order to be able to donate.
Yeah, it's a super rare gift. And with over 1,000 Kentuckians waiting on a life-saving transplant, over 100,000 people in America in need of that gift of life, it's so vital that we have everyone register and simply say, if I could, I would. If I could save someone's life, a child's life, someone's mom, someone's best friend, someone's dad, why wouldn't I? Save a life when I no longer need my organs and tissues and corneas. So that's what registering means. And whether or not we're able to depends on a million things, but that willingness gives hope to all those patients waiting.
I'm so used to the driver's license being the opportunity for sign the line here, you want to donate, but you had mentioned infants also. I mean, how can they be pre-registered to be a donor?
Absolutely. So if we want to kind of walk this way, we have so many families that have been impacted by this mission. And people can register and make the decision to register as an organ donor. And if someone hasn't yet registered and they die in a way that they can save lives, their family will make that decision. If someone's registered, then their family doesn't have to make it because they have already decided that. As long as they're over 18, of course, their wish will be fulfilled and they'll be able to be a hero. But if they're not registered, or if they're under the age of 18, their family will make that decision for them. So it's so important that people talk about this. And I know it's not always what people want to talk about is what happens when I'm gone from this earth, but it's so important because it really takes the burden off of that family to know what their loved one wanted. And we stay in touch with all of our donor families. They stay a part of our mission forever. We get to talk to these incredible transplant recipients like Bryn. Bryn and her sweet twin sister and sisters there in that photo are great volunteers. They were throwing out the first pitch at the University of Kentucky softball game. So great ways to just continue to stay involved. Donna, her daughter Natasha, we talk about Natasha all the time. And she saved so many lives through her gifts. They're superheroes. I mean, here's, you know, I'm not a firefighter. I'm not a police officer. I probably will never save someone's life here on earth. But when I'm gone, if I can leave that legacy, why wouldn't I? Each day, 17 people die waiting for their gift of life. And if we had everyone registered, we would not have a waiting list like we have in America today. So that's our hope, is that everyone will register, talk to their family about it. Again, whether or not we become a donor depends on a million things, but that willingness to save a life is what saved the life of Julie Ice and Bryn. I mean, it's incredible.
So I understand that you have some people that have really been touched by this and have worked here as well?
We have so many people on staff that have been touched by this mission, either as a recipient or a donor family. So we would love to show you around and maybe you can meet some of them.
Great.
Welcome, Newbie and Demetra, and I know your name is Charles Ray Newbie, but I'm gonna call you Newbie today. So I want to just talk about you being a heart transplant recipient. What does that mean? How does that feel for you?
That feels like I'm blessed, like God has granted me another chance, not by choice, but by just being blessed by somebody that donated me their organ. And I'm thankful for them on every day because they didn't have to do it, but they did. And it's working for me.
Absolutely. God is working.
Yes,
God
he
is
is.
working. So, Newbie, tell me, even the times I saw you, because you're always a jokester, right?
Correct.
Demetra's probably the only one that has seen the ups and the downs with you. You know, I know you've talked to my mom. Honestly, just from that time that I came to see you, how were you feeling? Were you optimistic? Were you scared? How were you really feeling?
I was severely nervous. I believe in God. I keep the faith. I believe in prayer. There comes a point in time in your life when you become so sick that you can't remember to say a prayer for yourself. And that's when you realize that you need somebody else to help you to pray, to get your strength up. I believe in the power of prayer so hard that I prayed for my heart to come. And this is how God works, y'all. Listen to this. It was in 2023. I said, I want my heart in 2023, Jesus. I said, tell your daddy that. So it didn't work out in 2023. Our son passed away November the 23rd, 2014. So this is how God worked. He said, we won't give you what you want, but we'll give you that day. So on January 23rd, I got my heart transplant. And that's how God worked. But my prayer to God was, and I said this earlier, y'all need the family to have time to spend with their loved ones. So wherever the heart came from, the airport was closed for 3 days. For 3 days. So that's 3 days that they got to spend with their loved ones. And then I asked the Lord God, so that's the person whose heart I get to put in my chest, that he needs to know them like I know him. And I think of God out in that first part, because who else can shut the airport down for 3 days? For 3 days. So I'm hoping that this person knew God and Jesus, because he helped me. Because when I went in to get my surgery, my EF function had dropped down to 3.75. 3.75 is a step away from not being here. 3.75 is your next heartbeat, could be not your last heartbeat. And but I'm gracious for that because I made it. I made it by the grace of God.
Excellent.
Not because of what I was doing, or how I was eating, or how I was exercising, but I made it by the grace of God.
Andreas, thank you for being here and willing to share your story with us today. So really, I know this started for you a long time ago. So kind of tell us how this all began, this journey you've been on.
That's a good way to put it. It is a journey. It has been that and continues to be that. And it's one that began really just over 44 years ago, 1980. I was a high school sophomore, 15 years old. And I was an athlete in high school and played football, baseball, and was planning a future that included what I hoped would be a trip to the University of Southern California. I had dreams of attending school there.
Mm-hmm.
But March 3rd of 1980, all of that just kind of changed in what literally was the blink of an eye. I was at home that morning and really got deathly ill, and woke up with a blood pressure near stroke level, and was rushed to the Children's Hospital here in Louisville. My pediatrician, became involved and said, "Hey, I think you guys may need to check his kidney function." It's something that she had been keeping an eye on for a few years, but nothing of any major urgency had shown up. But on that day when they did check that, they got test results that said that I was already in end-stage renal disease.
Wow.
So kidneys had literally shut down.
At 15.
At the age of 15, no preparation, no education, none of those things. But at the age of 15, I was thrust into what was a new life. Changes immediately without any kind of adjustments or anything. But if I was going to live, I had to make some immediate changes that included going on dialysis that very day. So then just a few months later, is when I did receive the call, May of 1989. Received a phone call that said, hey, we've got your gift for you. We've got your kidney. And the doctor said, hey, it's not the most healthy of donors. It's not going to be the greatest of gifts, but you know, it'll be maybe 4 or 5 years that you won't have to have dialysis. And so that'll give you a reprieve from that. Mike, that positive attitude takes you a long way, because the doctor said 4 or 5 years, but with diligence and great care. First of all, what I was doing was I was recognizing the generosity of my donor family deserved the best from me.
Right. Got to really take care of that.
And I took as good care of it as I could. And so that 4 or 5 years turned into 14. Yeah, I was able to maintain that kidney for 14. And the doctor said it wasn't healthy from the start. And so, you know, what we're thinking is maybe 4 or 5 years for you. But we were able to keep it for 14. Thinking of that donor's family, and wanting to honor my donor by taking care of him and me. Again, the faith that had been instilled in me, which triggers that positive attitude. It would have been easy to just simply throw in the towel and give up. But that fighting spirit just wouldn't allow me to do that. And so just sometimes you just have to fight.
Got that too. Get that from my mom. Sometimes it's not the best fighting.
I understand.
Well, Shannon, I am so glad to have you here today to talk about your experience. I mean, you have quite the story to tell. Your son, Keegan, was 6 years old when he ended up being a donor. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. And it's not my story. It's actually his story, and I enjoy telling it any chance I get.
So tell me a little bit about how many lives did he affect?
He ended up saving 5 lives. That was 4 children and 1 adult.
Oh, that's amazing. And so what parts was he able to donate?
2 kidneys, a liver, and each heart valve went to a young male.
Okay.
Each went to a young male. I remind people, my child did not die in order to save someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
That was not,
right,
reason for his passing.
Right. Yeah. And but look what you're doing now. I mean, you have chosen to work for KODA because?
Well, number one, I knew leaving the hospital when I made the decision to donate his organs. Actually, I was not even approached yet. They were there. The OPO was there and present and monitoring, but I asked, so is this when I need to talk to somebody about organ donation? And, we're a family of first responders. Every one of us are committed to the cause of saving lives. And Keegan's brothers and uncles and grandfathers, they were all first responders. And he would have done the same thing in some way. And I just felt like this was completing his mission on Earth by being a lifesaver in this manner.
So tell me why you've decided to stay with KODA.
In the early days after Keegan's passing, the aftercare department stayed close, offered me emotional support, offered me to connect with people walking the same journey at all stages, which was amazing to me to see another mom who lost their child, 10 years down the road and 20 years down the road, and they're so active and engaged still, and they have hope
Yeah.
They have joyful moments. And that provided me so much hope to know I'm going to survive this.
Yeah.
Because every day I woke up, I did not know if I could do the day.
Yeah.
And they just provided me a platform to tell a story, hoping to educate others about organ donation, transplantation, being registered, and financially giving to the nonprofit because in order for us to reach all borders of the state, to educate, that takes money to run those programs. And for me, every yes comes from education. So it's the basis and the foundation of everything we do.
I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in this whole thing, seeing how people have grown, seeing more lives saved just from one person. It's amazing. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for continuing to stand strong as you do. You're amazing, and that you've affected, not only has your son affected so many lives, but you are too. So thanks for educating the people in this community.
I can't imagine a family saying no and not being able to have the gift that was given to me. I always say organ donation is the gift of life, obviously, to the recipient, but don't forget that it is the gift my son left me with this family.
To be able to give
care with these people who know what I'm going through. So it's a gift twofold.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Shelley, thank you so much for the tour today and the people that we got to meet today. The stories were just incredible, touching, and this is what you guys are all about.
That's what we do every single day. It's such an honor to work in a place that you know just does so much good for the world and all these wonderful people you get to meet, and that's what we're all about.
You're all just good humans. I love it.
Thank you. We really try hard.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to say that that we haven't covered yet?
I would just encourage everyone to just talk to your family about this incredible mission. And if you know somebody who's been touched by this mission, tell them to get in touch with us. We'd love to have more volunteers and more advocates out in our community sharing this beautiful mission.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, when I was talking to Shannon, that she said, they'll educate you all.
Yeah.
You go out to the community and educate everyone.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I love what you do.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again. And we are Louisville Unveiled, 3 agents, 1 city.